as we get closer to March here, we're checking in with the college basketball teams around the state here. So join me today. Got the head coach of Fairfield, Coach Chris Casey. So, Coach, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you, Jared. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So when we spoke in the preseason, maybe a week or so before the season started, you were still getting adjusted as being the head coach there. Team got off to that 1-6 start, but then really seemed to turn it around. What do you think was some of the things that helped turn your team around early on in that season?
The biggest thing is we got guys healthy, at least for a period of time. I mean, we're still struggling with that right
Yeah.
now. Um, so I think that was the biggest thing. I would say that getting guys healthy, and then probably the second biggest thing is just the approach and the everyday approach that our guys have. You know, they never wavered in buying in, and they never wavered in believing in each other, even while we were struggling a little bit at the beginning of the year. And they've kept that as part of their personality as a group, collectively and also individually. And I think in any walk of life, that's the aspect that allows you to have a chance to be successful.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with that slower start, it could be easy to kind of lose a team right out of the gate there. How did you keep this team together and believing that, hey, we could be a team that still competes for the top of the MAAC?
Yeah, well, we just went about our business every day. I mean, at that point, you don't pay attention much to the start. We talked about how, starts don't dictate ends
Hmm.
necessarily, and we just talked about example. I mean, there's so many examples in all across all sports, of teams struggling early, being great late, teams being great early and
Yeah.
struggling late, teams coming out of nowhere. I mean, anything and everything happens, and the only thing in your control is your approach every day. And I'm a little bit repetitive there, but that's pretty much all we talked about and all we paid attention to. And then knowing that down the line here, eventually we were going to get everybody healthy, and that was going to help us. And we got to get back to that too at this point as we go down the stretch of the season.
As you start to go through the season, was there a moment for you where things kind of clicked and you realized that, hey, maybe this team, we're obviously better than how we started, but hey, this is a team that can compete and be a factor here in the MAC.
I don't think there was a moment. I thought that I really felt that if we got everybody healthy and we got everybody playing well, that we could, have a shot at being up there in the top group or the top third of the MAC. So there wasn't one specific moment. It was more so day to day, just watching us practice
Hmm.
and then just get better at what we were doing and then see that transferred to the games, which doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
When those lights go on, sometimes guys aren't able to do what they're doing in practice individually and collectively. So just seeing that gradually, it was almost like a stair climb. It's almost been like a stair climb with that, and seeing that is kind of what made me think, you know what, we're right there. We got a chance. We got a good chance of anybody does.
So we're here kind of late in February after the Super Bowl. I feel like a lot of the more casual fans start really tuning into college basketball as the season really kicks into the home stretch here. For those who might just be tuning into your Fairfield team, just give us a quick little breakdown of your roster and the guys, if they're tuning in for the first time to watch your team, to keep their eyes on.
Well, I would say a couple things. The first thing I talk about is our four guards. Um, Caleb Fields is one of the we have three guards who are in the top five in a MAC, top 10 in the MAC in scoring.
Wow. Yeah.
So that would be Caleb, Jalen, and Bryson Goodine. And then our fourth guard, Jasper Floyd has, I mean, he just fills the stat sheet up. I mean, every game he's got double figures. He's got 6, 7, 8 rebounds. He's got multiple steals. He's got multiple assists, and he's like in the top 10 in a lot of these categories across the conference stats. So, I would say those four guys, really are kind of the forefront of our
Mhm.
team. But they're not the only parts of our team. We have two guys playing that four spot, or I call it a four guard. Because you're really a bigger guard playing on the perimeter for us with the way we play. Louis Bleachmore is coming back from an injury. He suffered a very severe ankle sprain on January 19th against St. Peter's, so he's just kind of starting to get back now. And he played very well last night. in our win, and James Johns Jr. has done a terrific job. That's really like a two-headed monster right there at that 4 spot for us. And then up front in the 5 spot, we're playing basically 3 guys right now with Alexis Yenta healthy. So, Barima Sek's getting good minutes for us and helping us win. And so is Peyton Smith. He's also coming back from an injury, from an ankle injury. And then Alexis Yenta is now, getting a chance to play his first minutes in these last few games, and he's helped us a lot. So, that's kind of the summary. And then, we got some guys off the bench. Jack Brown's done a good job for us. He's a walk-on. But you would never know it with the way he practices and plays. He's given us really good minutes in games. And, Matty Curtis has come off the bench and been solid. He was very solid last night when we need him. So we have a few guys. We have a few guys on the roster that can help us.
When you look through your roster, especially at the starting five, got a lot of older guys, juniors, seniors. How important is that for this team to have some of that veteran leadership to go out there night in and night out?
Yeah, I think for better or worse, that's college basketball now. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at the better teams, they're older. Um, and you don't want to put yourself in a situation where it's like, the varsity playing the freshmen,
Yeah.
and, older guys have been there. They've been through it. They know what the season's like. They know how the practices are. They know what's necessary to win games. So I think you have to have a good makeup of older guys to be successful in college basketball. Now, last year in the Final Four, I don't know the exact number, but I think the average age of the 4 teams was somewhere around, 24 years old. So you need an older group.
When you look at your team and you talk about getting guys back from injury, I know a guy you mentioned earlier, Alexis Yetna, is a guy a lot of people had their eyes on heading into this season, especially here in Connecticut. You got a lot of UConn fans. They'd seen him at South Florida. They've seen him at Seton Hall. What does he bring to your team that you're hoping to get out of him during this final home stretch here?
Well, he was bringing in, and he and I had this conversation multiple times. He was bringing some good things to our team before he even was able to step on the floor and play in a game.
Mhm.
He's older. He wants to win. He's a terrific young man. If you watched our huddles before he was able to play, he was in the huddle before the coaches got in there, and he's, talking positive and picking guys up and, dropping off a little bit of knowledge here and there to the younger guys. You need to do this, you need to do that. So he's made an impact on our team right from minute one. And now that he's playing, he's not totally himself yet. He doesn't quite have the lift off the floor or the reaction time that he's used to, and that's going to take some time to come back. But he's still helping us. He's making some threes for us on pick and pop situations. He's got great hands, and he's rebounding the ball around the basket and catching balls on rolls and making good plays with them. Um, he brings a lot to our team, and we're grateful to have him.
Yeah, as you look down this home stretch, as you're getting guys back from injury, getting the team fully healthy, what's it like from a coaching perspective and trying to kind of retool some of these rotations and lineups and mix and match as you're getting guys back?
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. It's different, because when you get into a flow. And, part of guys being good in their roles is, knowing where their shots are coming from, knowing who they're playing with on the floor, knowing when they're going in a game, when they're coming out of a game, and trying to keep that as regimented as possible. And that helps you perform in your role because there's not a lot of unexpected. But when you have guys hurt and in and out, the first thing you always talk about is next man up. That's why you have 13, 14, 15 guys on a roster. That we have a saying that, when we push a button, you got to be ready to play. And so you that's part of it. And then, getting guys back in the mix and getting their game legs under them. Some people think it's as simple as, okay, now he's healthy, he can play, but it's not that. Your reaction time drops a little bit. Um, your ability to run the floor drops a little bit. You'll get a little bit of slippage and knowledge of what, the team is doing because you haven't practiced. So that takes a minute for guys to get that back. But, hopefully we're starting to approach that.
I'm going to take a quick break from the interview to tell you about my friends at Martin Rosol's Meats. This fourth generation Connecticut family business produces kielbasa, hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats using Martin Rosel's very own original recipes. Their products can be found in grocery stores, delis, restaurants, and hot dog stands throughout the state. And if you're looking for your fill right away, check out their retail store in New Britain. For more information, visit martinroselsinc.com and go support a Yukon fan owned business. And now, back to the interview. As we're here in February, I know from a coaching perspective, you guys are always looking to tweak it and make the team as strong as it can be heading into March. As you look towards these final couple weeks of the regular season before you hit the MAAC tournament, what are you looking to improve upon as you head towards that time?
I think all teams are always working on their defense, you know. At this point, most teams know what the other team's doing. So you tend to guard actions pretty well. And then it comes down to, guarding one-on-one, guarding ball screens, defensive rebounding the ball, because, teams that have playmakers are the ones that tend to rise this time of the year. So that's something that we're always looking to improve on. And then offensively, just continuing to do what we do, push the ball, get it up the floor, don't stop running, try to wear teams down with our ability to get up and down the floor. So, that's something that we want to hold on to.
As you've been going through conference play here, it seems like the MAAC is just one of those conferences where anyone can kind of go out and give anyone a good game on any given night. How tough has this conference been going through it this year in terms of, teams that are relatively evenly matched?
I think, well, first of all, the conference, it's like that every year. It really, you give yourself the best chance if you get in that top five.
Mhm.
You get in that top five, you got to buy in the first round.
Yeah.
Rarely, if you look at the history of our league, does the number one seed win the league. So there's a lot of aspects to that. And I mean, just look at last year. John Dunn did an outstanding job with some young guys. He was the 11th seed. He got to the championship game.
Right.
So anybody beats anybody in this league. And this will be my, trying to count years, but I think this is my 19th year in the MAAC in some capacity, either as a head coach or an assistant. And the league's always been like that. And this year is no different. There's a lot of good teams, and if you look at games across the board, anybody does beat anybody. So it's important that you're ready to play.
I've got to ask, what's it been like for you going through this season, adjusting to taking over the head coaching duties, and how's it been for you going through the season that way?
Um, I'm kind of, I guess you would call me a lifer at this point. I mean, this is my 38th year coaching college basketball. So, what it's been like, a couple things. I've really enjoyed this group. I have a lot of fun coaching them. They're a wonderful group. They work hard. They're fun to be around. Their attitudes are great. They're very resilient. All the qualities you want in people that you spend a lot of time with.
Mhm.
So I've really enjoyed that part of it, and I've just enjoyed coaching in the league again. There's a lot of really good coaches in this league and good teams, and I enjoy that aspect of it, is watching them on film, see what you can take away, see what you can exploit, what makes your team better, all those things. So that's the part of basketball that I love. Being on a practice floor, preparing for games, playing the games. Watching guys get better, watching young guys compete. I enjoy that part of it. So I've really had a good time with that this year.
I've got to ask, Friday night got a big one coming up. Nice in-state battle, which looks like the MAAC might come down to between yourself and Quinnipiac. How are you feeling heading into that rematch against Quinnipiac?
It should be fun. You know, I think we're both one of the better teams in the league right now. And I think both teams have talent and both teams can score. Tommy Pecora does a great job with that team. He has all year. And I think we're pretty good too, So I'm looking forward to going over there, having a great atmosphere and just going and competing. I think our guys have put in a lot of time and effort, and you treat every game the same, but you don't have to mention the stakes that are there for this game. They know it, and they deserve to have the opportunity to compete in a game like this, with the work that they've put in this year. So we're all looking forward to it.
I'll wrap with this, and this kind of goes on the similar theme of the in-state matchup you've got against Quinnipiac. But I know you played some of the other teams in the state. You played Yale, Sacred Heart, obviously Quinnipiac, UConn playing at a really high level this year, Central in their conference at a high level too. How exciting is it to be a part of this Connecticut college basketball atmosphere right now? And virtually every D1 school in the state has a chance to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think that's outstanding. I think it's great for the state. There's a lot of young players out there in the state playing high school basketball, and parents getting a chance to watch their kids play high school basketball. I would encourage all of them, get out and see some of these college games.
Yeah.
You have some really, really good teams in this state right now, and they compete at a high level. And on top of that, they're fun to watch. I mean, if you
Right.
look at the scores of all the teams, they're getting up and down. They're playing an exciting brand of basketball. So I think it's great for Connecticut basketball, and I hope down the stretch here. I know it's difficult; people have schedules, but if I would encourage them to get out and go see the teams in your area,
Yeah.
especially our area. Come out and fill the arena up. We got some great crowds. Keep doing it.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out the new arena, we could still call it a new arena down there in Fairfield. Go out and check it out because it's a great time, and hopefully people aren't taking this college basketball level of play right now for granted because it really is special what we've got in the state this year. So, Coach, I really appreciate you taking some time during a busy stretch for your team, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you, Jared. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime. Thanks.